Hello, hello. I apologize. I am a few minutes late, but I just looked down at my phone and it is 11 or 1:11. So I guess it's all divinely timed and perfect as always. Always working out for me. Everything is always working out for you. And welcome to the New Earth Ascension series. So this series is for visionary leaders, new earth leaders, sacred feminine leaders, divine feminine leaders. You are here. If you've landed on this, you are leading new earth. You are leading a new paradigm as humanity shifts into higher consciousness. And if you've been resonating with me for a while, or maybe you're just brand new, then there's no accidents, right? Like you're landing here. And if it resonates with you, then you're in the right place. My name is Sarah, if you're new here, and I am an activator. I myself am a light worker. I identify as someone that has had a mission on her heart from a very early age, unclear of what that was, went through the deep dark night of the soul and transformation for well over a decade to fully come into my light, my leadership, my boldness, my authenticity, and being able to embody the essence of who I am. And this is an unfolding journey. It's not like it's done, right? But it's very, very clear to me right now, at least what wants to come through me. I've devoted my life to being a channel and to being of service to the divine and the highest and greatest good for all involved, and committed a long time ago to letting the divine do what it needs to in my life in order to bring me into complete alignment with my soul's mission and what I came here to do. And if you are resonating with this, you have a similar soul contract. You, in your own way, are here to lead through your authenticity, your truth, and this is just the theme that's coming up right now so strongly. This is not new. You know, one of my first programs, Sacred Leader Academy, launched when COVID hit. And prior to that, I had spiritual awakening programs called Evolve. It was one of them. And so I've been guiding others on this journey for a long time. However, right now there is a call to leadership. And if you're resonating with this, then you feel this call. So we're going to talk about this because this is a journey of really stepping into your bold authenticity, your unapologetic authenticity, where you're no longer operating from fear-based programming. And I'm going to share some stories, possibly. There's some things coming up, so I'll just dive in with that. 2024 especially has been preparation for what we are entering now as a collective, really stepping into bold, authentic leadership. I just put a post out on Instagram. It may even be the title for this video. I don't know until we get through this transmission. But what was coming up very clearly the last few days is lone wolf to sacred visionary leader. So throughout your life, you may have identified as the one that doesn't fit in. You may have identified as the lone wolf or the black sheep in the family. You've never really been able to fit into boxes, right? You have been charting your own course. And some of you may be in more, let's say, regulated environments, such as like corporate America and things like that, where there's lots of boxes. And some of you may have chosen a path that is more freeing, right? Like entrepreneurship. I know that's where my heart has always guided me, because it's really impossible for me to play by others' rules. And this, growing up and through societal conditioning, has been somewhat seen as too much, too rebellious, too opinionated, too bold, too whatever. And we'll dive into this, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because everything that has set you apart as you've grown through and evolved on your journey has been preparation for your new earth leadership, for you fully stepping into your power and your authenticity now. And so everything that you've been shamed for in the past, everything that has seen, all of the things that have made you feel like you're too bold, you're too opinionated, you're too this or that, That's because you were never designed to fit into the constructs of society that are very fear based and very ego dominant. That's just the way it is. And so you on a soul level have known this your whole life, but right now there's different, like everyone has their own assignment. You have an assignment and nobody has your assignment. And there are light workers and star seeds that are really called to infiltrate, for lack of a better word, the matrix and shine the light of truth, authenticity, and divine love within that environment. And so you were never meant to go into these environments and conform to the structures there that have been limited or rooted in greed or ego dominant, very focused on self-servedness, right? Versus what's happening now, which is sacred feminine leadership, which is infiltrating all of these structures and organizations, environments, communities, businesses, all the things. I've been talking to people lately that, they're in healthcare or they're in the tech space. Myself, I've been in sales my whole life as an entrepreneur, and I've been infiltrating the sales space, especially, just with the way people sell to other people, where it's been primarily a very, bro environment, which is rooted in, greed and manipulation and competition and seeing someone as a means to fulfill your own needs, versus my approach to sales, which is very, very much about having a powerful conversation with someone that leads them to making an informed and empowered decision of whether or not they work with you or not. Coming from a place of truth and love and empowerment and letting people make their own decisions and honoring their decisions. And so we'll just, I had an experience where I've had to walk away from a lot of lucrative opportunities, additional six-figure streams of income and things like that, because of me not being able to conform to the way things were being run. And I have been strategically placed in organizations and situations and companies to bring the authenticity, to bring the divine feminine leadership, to bring the sales process that is rooted in mutual reciprocity, in collaboration, in empowering conversations, rooted in not seeing the person that is being quote unquote sold to as an ends to serve your own needs. And I had to go up against a lot of, people on the ladder that see differently and be able to stand in my integrity and my truth and be able to shift the organization from within the organization to where they were able to start experiencing record company highs without the manipulation, without the fear-based energy of you have to just close people regardless. And it's all about just making money, right? It was always very ego dominant, and it was always about closing at whatever cost and things like that. And so I've been strategically, especially the last year and a half, infiltrating within the sales space, bringing a more harmonious, empathic, compassionate, intuitive approach to sales that's rooted in love and empowering people to make an informed decision and really standing in my truth and not conforming to any of the fear-based mentality or conditioning or constructs of the company in order to help them really truly achieve the goals that they want to achieve, but doing it from a place that's rooted in truth. And I've had the pleasure of speaking even more recently with so many women that are, and men that are in the technology space, that are in the healthcare space, that are in the legal, space, that are in all of these different spaces, and they are infiltrating from within, a more feminine aligned approach to doing business or to growing the company or to selling and things like that. And so when I say feminine and masculine, this is not gender. This is the polarity that creates the world of form that we live in. And so when I say feminine, I'm speaking to coming from the heart versus coming from the egoic mind. The masculine energy is very ego dominant. It's very much tied to the ego, and it's very linear thinking, very logical, and very much just, focused on success and results and things like that. And I love masculine energy. I carry I'm like split equal amounts of masculine energy with feminine energy. Masculine energy gets a bad rap. Masculine energy provides structure, it provides systems, it provides frameworks, it provides results, right? Because if you're a company, you don't have if you're not enrolling clients, if you're not making a difference, if you're not getting results, then what are you doing, right? So there's masculine energy, but then there's distorted masculine energy. And distorted masculine energy is when it's coming from like hyper masculine control, ego dominance, and at whatever cost. The feminine essence is rising up right now. This is the rise of the divine feminine, which part of the mission of the divine feminine is to infuse divine love within this reality. And many of us are doing it from the inside of many of these organizations, communities, groups, everything, right? So it's happening behind the scenes very subtly with each person's individual assignment, and it's a movement. It's a wave that's happening, and it's happening from the inside of companies, and it's happening from men and women fully honoring their truth and coming into authentic alignment with heart-centered consciousness, unity consciousness, seeing beyond the illusion that everything is separate, and coming from a place of collaboration, and coming from a place, collaboration over competition, heart-centeredness and compassion over, the egoic mind that just wants to win at all costs, and it's all about me. This is separation consciousness leading from the ego. So when we're able to lead from our feminine hearts, the essence of who we truly are, the masculine energy can come in and do the things it needs to do and take the actions it needs to take, but it's doing it from an aligned place. It's working with the feminine. It's aligned masculine energy and aligned feminine energy working together versus distorted masculine energy and distorted feminine energy. So they're always two sides of the same coin. So distorted feminine energy will be like not honoring your truth, not following your heart, not trusting your intuition, silencing your voice, not speaking up, being a doormat, being a people pleaser, right? And all of these things. And so those are the molds we're breaking out of, both individually and collectively. And we're doing it within our relationships. We're doing it within business models. We're doing it within organizations. We're doing it across healthcare. We're doing it across politics. We're doing it across the entertainment industry. We're doing it across, you name it, your individual community, the education system. We are rebuilding from truth and authenticity from the inside out as we build new earth together. And so the thing that's really coming up right now that's important is that if you've landed here, you are soul contracted right now to be leading with your authenticity. Because authenticity means that you are not leading from fear anymore, because you're not looking for the external validation outside of yourself. You don't have to put yourself into box and compromise your values or your integrity in any way, because you're showing up fully authentic, which means you are immune to people's rejection, or people, like the response that you may get from being authentic. Because when you are fully authentic in your truth, it naturally can also become very polarizing. And this is some of the conversations I've had with some of these experts in their field within the tech space or the healthcare space and stuff like that. When you begin to operate differently from the inside out, you're going to ruffle feathers. You're going to rock the boat. You're going to shake things up, because you're going against the construct of the old ways, the old world ways that have been rooted in egoic will and self-servedness and control and competition at all costs. Right. And so you're going to rock the boat. This is why you've been prepared for this your whole life. And this is why you haven't fit in. And this is why you've, may have been shamed in the past for speaking your truth or speaking up. People may have seen you as not cooperative, right? And to the people pleaser, to the wounded feminine energy, not being seen as cooperative is part of what like really perpetuates that inner wound of self-abandonment, right? Because you desperately want to be seen as cooperative or acceptable, right? Because you want to fit in, you want to be loved, you want to be seen as good enough in some way. And so the good girl arises, the good girl persona, which I talk about, the good girl persona, the people pleaser, the one that wants to fit in, and the one that doesn't want to rock the boat. And you may have gone through phases of this in your life, whether that be through relationships or whether that be through your career or whatever, where you're silencing your truth, silencing your voice, not being in alignment with your heart, not trusting your intuition for the need to fit in, the need to feel loved, the need to feel accepted, the need to, not feel rejected. And this is actually a form of self-abandonment, because what you're doing is you're abandoning your own heart, you're abandoning your own truth, you're abandoning what you feel is right. You're abandoning your values. You're abandoning your integrity. And that feels like a really shitty place to be. Right. And then the life plays out accordingly. Right. Because what happens when you compromise your values in a relationship? What happens when you compromise your values within a work situation or within a company and things like that? It's easy to get taken advantage of. It's easy to feel as if you're being used or abused or taken advantage of. But ultimately, part of this journey is being able to come back and take full responsibility for the role that we have played in giving our power away and perpetuating disempowering cycles for the desperate need to fit in and not rock the boat. But here's the thing: the people pleaser in you is dying or dead, depending on where you fall on this journey. The people pleaser, the good girl persona that you needed to protect yourself in order to feel lovable or accepted or good enough at some point on your journey, is dying. And what is being activated within you is your authentic truth. Most likely that you have been shamed for in some way. You're too bold, you're too this, you're too that. From the outside looking in, for people that are not able to fully own their authority, they will see you as threatening. They will see your boldness as aggression. They will see your truth telling as offensive. They will respond to it very differently, even though the ones that are meant to hear it will be inspired and they will get it. And so it can be a very polarizing place. And this is why you may have been shamed for your innate gifts, which have uniquely prepared you for your assignment, your soul contract that you have made before incarnating on earth in order to play the role that you chose to play as part of this new earth ascension, as a leader that's here to infiltrate in some way. And not everybody has the same mission. So not everybody is here to like infiltrate these systems from the inside out, but many of you are. And I know that I resonate with that. And I also resonate with a lot of other people that are naturally brought into my environment to have these kind of conversations where I can shine a light on where they are hiding from really embodying their truth and where they are still compartmentalizing themselves in order to keep the peace and not rock the boat. And it's very, and it's whether it's in their relationships, whether it's in their business, whether it's in their corporate job or whatever, when they feel challenged, when they begin to rock the status quo, they still have this impulse to hide. And, they'll have an impulse to be safe, which is a natural biological thing, right? Is to be safe, to be loved, to be accepted. This is a survival this is a survival, root primal need, is to be accepted and to not get cast out of the tribe and to be loved and all of this. And so when you step onto this path as this sacred visionary leader, you will bump up against these fears of not fitting in or rocking the boat. And your true power lies in your boldness, when you own it, when you're able to show up despite what other people's opinions are about it, from a place of truth, authenticity, and love, because that is what will be felt. So this isn't about fighting against a system. That's not how you change things. This isn't about competition and fighting against a system. Let me be clear about that. This is about showing up in your light, showing up in your truth, showing up in what you know from your heart, and channeling what wants to be channeled through you, because you are a high priestess. You are channeling and you are receiving. You work for the divine and you are a vessel and a channel and you have an assignment. And when you fully are anchored in your heart and you have gone through a lot of the dark night of the soul and the soul growth and a lot of that phase, you're able to open up to this even more. But this has been with you your whole life, right? You've been groomed for this your whole life. But there comes a season on this journey where you are being called to fully step into your truth. And so you will face the rejection, you will face the polarization that occurs when you become magnetic. So everybody talks about wanting to be magnetic, right? Everybody talks about wanting to be magnetic, and there's a natural magnetism that exudes from you because you are here to, when you're being authentic, right? Because you are here to make big changes in the world. And everybody talks about wanting to be magnetic and activating their feminine magnetism, right? I talk about that all the time. That's one of my favorite things to teach inside my programs is really embodying and activating your feminine magnetism through fully shining your light and standing in your bold authenticity, and really alchemizing the feminine shadow and realizing even within where you have been dimming your light within even the collective shadow, which has been hanging over you for some time, which is what has been suppressing you from fully stepping into your bold authenticity. Just like the example I shared with earlier with the woman that I was speaking with, which every time she starts to feel the clamp on, the voice from others that's saying, oh, you shouldn't probably say that. You probably need to appease this group of people and spin it differently because they're not going to want to hear that and blah, blah, blah. It's time to take ownership of what really truly wants to be channeled through you, because compartmentalizing yourself moving forward is going to get really, really uncomfortable, because again, you are on assignment. You have contracted on a soul level to be here during this time of awakening, and you're here to shine your light. And everything that prepared you in your life as a lone wolf, as a black sheep, as the one that didn't fit in, as the one that was misunderstood, because you stood in your boldness and your leadership and your authenticity, even though you went through seasons of pretending that you're not the leader that you are, even though you went through seasons of people pleasing, even though you went through seasons of trying to hide from your light and hide from your gift, God, the divine universe, all that is life right now is calling you to devote to why you came here and the role that you have to play. And I believe there's multiple different assignments that we have. Like, part of my assignment is to really enjoy this life experience and have fun with it and play with it. It's not about just, the days of self-sacrificing to be of service are over. This is like, you get to also live your best life, because that's what happens when you live authentically. So, back to magnetism, because authenticity is very much tied to activating your magnetism. And a lot of people talk about wanting to activate their magnetism, but what they really want to say is they just want a bunch of stuff to come to them easily and effortlessly. God, I keep seeing the hummingbirds outside. Hummingbirds is a little synchronicity for me that I love. What they really are meaning when they say this, a lot of people, when they say they want to activate their magnetism, is that they just want to attract a bunch of things into their life effortlessly. What they don't realize about activating your feminine magnetism is that it requires that you be yourself. It requires that you no longer wear a mask. It requires that you step boldly into your truth and embody your authenticity. And this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where the rubber hits the road, because you will be faced with a choice point. And I've been faced with this choice point over and over and over again the last year and a half, 2 years, which is where I had to walk away on a dime from very lucrative business opportunities, without even knowing how I was going to replace them. But I just was not able to stay in any situation that was compromising my values. Or I was infiltrating it if they were open to it, and helping them transform their business from the inside out. And as soon as the sold contract was over and the assignment was done, like, I was out of there. So that's a whole nother story. But long story short is, I just lost my train of thought. Someone remind me in the comments. I lost my train of thought. Still hiding. Well, that's why I'm here. My job is to activate those that are still hiding, from who they truly are. Okay, so I'm back. Magnetism and authenticity, your bold authenticity and truth, are directly interconnected and tied. And so most people say they want to activate their magnetism because they want to attract a lot of abundance and love and all the things into their life. Nothing wrong with that. That's what I help women do inside Embody the Empress. But you do it because you do it as a byproduct of becoming divinely worthy and fully you, and no longer in self-abandonment or self-betrayal, and fully owning your divinity and embodying your divinity, right? Becoming the divine sovereign ruler of your life. The divine sovereign ruler of your life doesn't wear masks, and doesn't need to compartmentalize herself in order to fit in. And I know there are men watching this as well, so exchange the gender roles as needed. I'm not talking specifically to women, but that's just how it comes out, because that's primarily who I speak with. But so the good girl persona has to be retired. The people pleaser persona has to be retired. The one that feels the need to fit in and seeks external validation outside of herself has to be retired. In order to activate your feminine magnetism, not sure how we got on the topic of magnetism, but I'm just going to go with it, is you have to be authentically true, and all the masks come off. And that means you're going to be faced with your raw truth, and others will see it. And that means you're opening yourself up to potential rejection. And I'm here to share with you that if you are on this path as a sacred visionary leader, you will bump up against the polarity. And this is to fine tune your own level of inner resilience and strength to prepare you for your assignment. The thing about magnetism is it's also equally repelling. It's like magnetism, you either magnetize or you repel. So the people that are here to hear your message are going to be inspired, or the people in your work environment or the people in your organization or whoever, you're going to inspire the right people and they're going to be drawn to you, but you're going to repel a lot of people, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with you. And there's going to be a lot of souls on this journey that are meant to be in the matrix, that are meant to be living a life that is not in alignment with their highest truth. This is key to understand on a higher level, soul level, that there are souls on this journey right now that are not going to wake up in this lifetime, that are not going to embody their divinity or live from their own truth. And that's by design. That's what their soul chose. There are people in this reality that it's like a little ticking time bomb. And at that certain moment, just like it happened for you, there's going to be a spontaneous moment or situation. It seems spontaneous. It might not be spontaneous. It might be a series of events. It's different for everybody, but there's going to be those that are waking up in this lifetime, and they are going to go through the trials and the tribulations of the spiritual journey and coming home to themselves. And so that's by design. That's part of their plan. That's not your plan. That's not what you contracted for as a soul. And so that's why it's really key to understand, which this is not popular. And so that's fine. I'm willing to share it. There's a lot of people that want to fight against what it is they don't feel is rooted in truth. Fight against the systems or the people, or have these adversaries in the story, right? But what they don't understand is that everybody's here playing a role, and everybody here is on their own soul contract. And everybody here is going to do what they're going to do based on what their soul is here to experience. And this is also another unpopular opinion, but you have to be able to zoom out from a higher level perspective and see this reality for what it is, and not see it from the point of a separate self that's trapped in this reality and a victim of it. But on the grander scale, there are souls that have incarnated here to play certain roles that would be perceived as bad from whatever perspective, right? And it's all part of it as well. Like, everybody's on their soul journey. We all incarnated on planet Earth and knew what we were getting into when we came. We were incarnating into a very denser reality that is riddled with ego and lots of options, lots of rabbit holes, lots of fear-based conditioning, lots of things like that. And we all knew what we were signing up for when we incarnated here, and we all came with our own soul's journey. And I can say, actually, some of the biggest players in my life experience, and I say players, that's really what they were. They're like actors in a play. Some of the biggest players in my life journey are the ones that have caused me the most suffering. Those are a lot of the ones that have caused the most suffering are the ones that have helped me love myself more, if that makes sense, has helped catalyze my process in coming home to myself more, if that makes sense. And I'm not speaking to your egoic mind. So if you're listening to this and you're stuck in the blame game or judgment or resentment and all of those things, I'm not speaking to you. I'm sorry, because that's the game of the ego. That's the game of fear-based consciousness. That's the game of pointing fingers back and forth. And that game goes on forever. That's part of the duality. That's part of the dualistic experience that you signed up for. That can go on forever. You came here to rise above that and to be able to move into situations, spaces, and places where you can anchor the love and divine truth into situations. And this first happens for yourself, being able to come into full self-acceptance and self-love within yourself. Self-love, acceptance, and forgiveness, not self-acceptance, but acceptance and forgiveness for others. That does not mean you condone poor behavior or toxic behavior, but it does mean you see it from a different vantage point, and how there's always a silver lining and a lesson and wisdom that can be gleaned from it that you can grow from. But then as you do this for yourself, you're called into duty, so to speak. You have an assignment and nobody else has your assignment. And then you're asked by the divine to lead. And this series that I'm doing here, if you're watching this is part of a series that, who knows, will probably go on for maybe all of 2025. But that's what's happening now. You're being called to fully step into your truth, your authenticity, and self-love and acceptance, because you have to have a high level of acceptance and full on love with yourself to be able to step into your bold authenticity and be able to stand and not cower in your power when you're facing um, people, situations, circumstances, or haters or naysayers or anything like that. But it's part of the path. It's part of the journey you signed up for, which is why you never fit in, which brings me back to the lone wolf or the black sheep or the one that was misunderstood in your family. You were never meant to fit in. And although you may have been compromised, compartmentalized, or shamed for a lot of your natural innate gifts, those are coming online now and being activated within you. Being able to share your message and your truth despite it rocking the boat, because it will, despite ruffling feathers, because it will, because you are not meant to conform to the constructs. You're meant to come in, you're meant to shine your light, you're meant to activate, you're meant to illuminate where people are still operating from falsehood, untruth, fear-based ego consciousness, separation consciousness, and you're meant to bring the truth. You're meant to bring the light. You're meant to bring the sacred feminine energy and essence. You're meant to bring, a more harmonious environment, a more collaborative environment, one that is rooted in mutual reciprocity, one that is meant to, rooted in all of the things, right? I could go on and on and on and on, because it's going to be different for everybody, because nobody's assignment is identical, right? You've contracted to do a certain thing, and it's utilizing all of your experiences and all of your talents and all of your skills that you've gained along the way as well, right? There's a reason why I'm constantly, infiltrating like sales environments and helping even spiritual entrepreneurs with their sales process and things like that, because I truly believe sales is sacred. I truly believe the act of sales is to truly be able to embody feminine magnetic sales, is to embody sales as a sacred exchange, right? It's not an egoic dominant thing. It's a sacred exchange between two people that are agreeing to work together. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is also an unpopular opinion, that like spiritual entrepreneurs and people that walk in faith and things like that are not like, especially within the spiritual entrepreneurship community, and faith and devotion to their calling are it's deemed as bad to monetize your gift. And I do not see that as, I see the process of monetizing your gift as sacred. I feel like every spiritual entrepreneur and everybody that's heart centered and leading from, from love, should be abundantly and divinely compensated for their gifts, so they can do what they feel called to do and love it, and let that flow through them. I don't believe that it's anybody's higher purpose. If you're here as like, I know I'm going all over the place, but if you're here as like a healer, or you're being called to be like a spiritual coach, or you're being called to be some kind of visionary or some kind of artist or creator, I don't believe that it's in your highest and best interest to clock 40 hours a week at a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, and then only carve out a little fraction of time over here to actually do what you love. Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You should be abundantly and divinely compensated doing what you love, but it's going to require that you choose you. It's going to require that you fully come into harmony with you. It's going to require that you feel worthy of it. It's going to require that you overcome any blocks to receiving for your gift, which is huge within the spiritual entrepreneurship community. It's going to require all of those things to live your best life, which, if you're listening to this, you're destined for that. You're not here to play mediocre. You're here to live in the flow, in the divine flow, creating from what wants to be channeled through you, whether that's art, whether that's music, whether that's being a healer, whether that's being a coach, whether that's showing up in the corporate environment or the healthcare system or the tech space, and all the other people that I've spoken with that are here to shine their light. And they're so lit up by that within the organization to make epic changes that are going to ripple out and literally change the way we do business from the inside out, like huge change makers. Like everybody has their own soul path that lights them up, and it's going to look different for everybody. And I believe every single soul that's here with a heart-centered mission deserves abundance and divine prosperity. And it's not because you're better if you do that. It's because you are that. You are abundance. You are love itself. You are life itself. It's when you get caught up as if it's you're this separate self, and then you see sales as some form of like taking from somebody else, and when that's not what it is. You're having an exchange with someone, and they either want to do it or they don't. You're not holding a gun to anybody's head, right? Like there's nothing wrong with prosperity. If you look at Eckhart Tolle, I think he's worth 70 million. I know I'm going on a rampage now, but this is just what happens sometimes. He comes into town at the Biltmore down this over here. I'm in Arizona, and he still charges like 1,000 or 2,000 something a ticket for the weekend to come see him in person. Does he have to do that? He could be hosting stuff for free all the time, which he does, which you can learn everything you need to from Eckhart Tolle from a $6 book or from watching his free YouTube videos or things like that. But he still charges a healthy rate for his in-person events, even though you're worth millions, right? So it's like there's a scarcity mindset and a lack mindset that a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs have. And there needs to be the script flipped on that in order for you to fully be supported doing what you love and showing up, being able to create magic in the world and fully be supported and divinely compensated for your gift. You have to be open to receiving for it. You have to believe you're worthy of it. You have to know that this is a divinely guided, God-given mission on your heart. And money is just money. Money can be used for good. Money can be used for bad. It has nothing to like you're you're on a heart-driven mission. Like, of course you're going to use money for good. Like, and I believe that the more people own that and show up in that, the better the world will be. Can you imagine what it would be like if all the entrepreneurs in the world and all the business owners in the world were heart-centered and they were all divinely compensated for sharing their unique talent, gift, sacred medicine, and art with the world? I mean, so anyways, I'm going off on a tangent because that was around spiritual entrepreneurship, because a lot of you are being called to that. And like I said, some of you are in corporate America. Some of you are perfectly happy there and you're making changes from within. All of it comes back to fully stepping into leadership and ownership, wherever your mission takes you, wherever your assignment takes you. Like, it's all still going to require that you fully own hiding and you're willing to take off the mask. And the thing, the wounded feminine energy that feels unlovable at her core, feels powerlessness at her core, and feels, not good enough at her core, is always going to wear a mask, because you need that external validation in order to feel good enough. So if you're watching this and you're still hiding and you're like, well, how do I stop hiding? You come home to yourself and you begin to love yourself, and you begin the journey inward to fully come into embodying your divinity. Because when you fully embody your divinity and you know who you truly are at your core, which is not this separate sense of self, but that you are a divine expression of the one, and that you are here living in this reality, but you're not from this reality, and you're having this experience, but it's not truly who you are. When you fully love yourself, accept yourself, and embody this divinity, then you don't need to wear the mask anymore. You don't care about people pleasing anymore. You're able to stand in your bold, authentic truth. So the answer lies within your heart, coming home to yourself and alchemizing the feminine shadow, the one that's rooted in fear and people pleasing and silencing yourself and all the things. Those are all lies, and it's just something that needs to be unwound, right? And this is what we do in Embody the Empress. So if this is resonating with you, I definitely recommend you check out that. That is my Divine Feminine Awakening and Embodiment membership. It's month to month. You can cancel anytime, so there's no long-term commitments. I just hopped off of a Sacred Integration Circle with members just about an hour before this. So they're on Saturdays. The calls are on Saturdays, but you also get a lot of channeled trainings and challenges and all the things in there, including a community where you get to stay connected with myself and other members. And like I said, it's month to month, cancel anytime. So if you are interested in that, then that's a great way to begin this process of coming home to yourself, activating your feminine magnetism, but you're not doing it from the false sense of self that's just out there like, gimme, gimme, gimme. I need more things to make myself whole and feel complete and lovable. That's not your feminine magnetism. It's about first loving yourself, coming home to yourself, and healing on a heart level, healing the wounded feminine energy, and then being able to naturally step into your bold authenticity from there, which is naturally activates your feminine magnetism. You can't skip any of those steps. Otherwise, you're just coming from ego trying to like magnetize things in, and that just creates a vicious cycle that leaves you feeling unloved, taken advantage of, not good enough, because you're still reaching outside of yourself for external validation. So embody the Empress, for all of you that are into tarot, which is where it came from, even though I don't read tarot or anything anymore. Embody the Empress. The Empress embodies all the Queen's energy and rises above all the Queens, because all the Queens have their own shadows. So so like the Queen of Swords, that's all about the mental body. And then you have the Queen of, what is it? Queen of, I'm going to mess it up. Queen of Wands, which is all about embodying your divine confidence and passion. And it has its own shadow. And then you have the Queen of, what is it? Cups. And then you have the Queen of, I'm going to forget the last one because my mind's drawing a blank. I can't remember the last one. It'll come to me. Swords. Oh, wands. Did I say wands? Swords, wands, cups, pentacles. Right? So all of those have their own shadows. So this is about aligning in all of these areas, the physical world with your relationship to, your financial stability, for example, your confidence, your passion, your heart. Like all of these queens have their own powers and also their own shadows. And when all of that gets alchemized, you become the Empress. And the Empress is the one that is the divine sovereign ruler of her life. And she has alchemized her shadow. She knows her worth. She speaks her truth. She's not afraid of rejection because she's not externally seeking. And the Empress is fertile and abundant, So she's usually pregnant on the Empress card, right? And so she's pregnant with birthing something into the world, whether that be an actual baby or whether that be your passion project or whether that be, you're in creative flow. If that's resonating with you, I just did one of these live streams on that you are the divine creatrix. This is so much Empress energy because you're in your divine creative flow. You're flowing in your authenticity and your truth, and you're able to create from the heart. And the Empress is abundant. The Empress is fully the sovereign ruler of the kingdom, the queendom, right? So that is available for you if you do want that extra layer of support. And if you do feel activated or moved by the things that come through these videos, then you may, and you resonate with this, then you also may want to check out, if you're new here, there's a playlist called Divine Feminine Collective Messages. And I will link that below this. I will link that in the caption below this once I'm done with this live stream. But that's a great playlist if you're on that path where you're still alchemizing the feminine shadow and you're dealing with maybe dark night of the soul and moving into fully embodying your heart and coming home to yourself. So that is a great playlist. And if you resonate with that, then or what I just shared, then you would be a great fit for Embody the Empress. And it would be an honor to be able to serve you in that way and be a guide and a mirror for you in that way. I think that's about it. We're at 48 minutes, and I always want to, go on and on. I don't want to ramble, but there's just so much coming through. I was so excited to come on here today, probably because I just jumped off of a call with Embody the Empress, Sacred Integration Circle, and this just lights me up. Just being able to help, because it's my purpose, being in alignment with your purpose, I can just share there is nothing more, the aliveness that comes through from being aligned with your purpose. There is nothing better. I'm getting full body chills right now, like fully aligning with your assignment, your divine blueprint, like your sacred contract of why you're here, and aligning with your purpose. My purpose is showing up and activating leaders. I activate the leaders, the ones that are here to break the mold, break the chains, break the ancestral trauma, and step fully into their power and lead New Earth. That's my part of my mission, and part of why I show up and why I'm here, and why, that's my why. It's a big part of my why is my devotion to my calling, which I have been devoted to for well over a decade consciously. But looking back over my life, I've been primed and prepared for this my whole life, as have you. So it's time to own it. Your superpower is your boldness. Your superpower is your authenticity. Your superpower is your ability to break the mold and to speak your truth. And you are a truth teller. I put out videos on this as well. You are a truth teller. You are a truth teller. Your job is to show up and show up boldly in your authenticity. There's so much in store this year for those that step into their divine leadership. There's so much in store. So much in store for those that fully own it, for those that are willing to own it and stop making excuses and stop hiding and stop playing small, and are ready to go all in on what they came here to do and own it. That's just what's coming through. So I love this. Yay, perfect. Yes. Thank you for all the love in the comments. I'll respond to these as soon as I'm not live as well. I oh yeah, Pentacles. Yeah, thank you, Mel. I kind of ignore it a little bit because it'll throw me off, especially when I get into the flow. But yeah, I love the comments, and I always try to respond to everybody personally. It's weird because when I'm not live anymore, the comments disappear and I can't find them later. So I immediately try to respond as soon as I'm not live anymore. So if this resonates with you, like I did on the last one, which was really fun to understand, like who here within the soul tribe is really getting this, I'm going to ask you to drop a word, whether you're here live with me or whether you're on the replay. And the word is lone wolf. Lone wolf is the word. So if you're still here with me and you get it, and you're one of the ones I'm speaking with that are meant to step up into this new earth and lead from your authenticity and your boldness, then you are not on a 52-minute live stream right now or replay for no reason. And you are not resonating with this for no reason. So I want you to own it. And by owning it and showing up for yourself and letting, like this is like really planting the seed with the universe and with the divine that you are ready to start stepping into this. So drop the word lone wolf. And then pay attention to what unfolds, because if you drop the word lone wolf with the intention, I love working with spiritual law and intention, but if you drop the word lone wolf, I just want to preface this, you drop the word lone wolf with the intention that you are willing to step into your boldness and that you are willing to hand over heart, fully claim what you know you came here for, and to live in alignment with your divine assignment and step into your truth, things will begin to happen in the 3D reality that will align you with that. I'm just going to say that, and I would love for you to come back to this video or pop on to the next live stream and let me know what's happening or unfolding. Sorry. And the last thing that I'm going to say is, if you do resonate with this stepping into leadership, then one of my programs is called Rise Sister Rise, which is a 13 consecutive week journey with me going through the alchemical process of really truly alchemizing your shadow and claiming your divine gifts, which, to be honest, are hiding in the shadow right now. if you're resonating with this. So Rise Sister Rise is a 13-week live journey with live activations. So if you've resonated with this, then you might want to take advantage of that. And I will link that also below in the caption. So I think that's about it for now. I love you guys. I love showing up here. I love the energy, and I love all the lone wolves in the comments. You guys are the vibe. You guys are the tribe, and I just so appreciate you. So I hope this finds you well, and you have a beautiful weekend. Namaste.